My number one alt recommendation, I would say number one recommendation overall is just Bitcoin. Just just concentrate on Bitcoin. There's just too little to go around. Bitcoin scarcity keeps increasing. It doesn't really matter that Bitcoin's price is not moving right now when everyone is trying to get as much Bitcoin as possible, including hedge funds and publicly traded companies now that have nothing to do with Bitcoin or crypto or finance or investments. When that's starting to happen, this is a big turning point. So I would say going forward, collect as much Bitcoin as you can. Altcoins will be fine. Some of them will do well, some of them won't. They're good speculative play, right? But you don't want to go too heavy into any alt anyways. You want to concentrate on Bitcoin. So that's my stance. Roger, I'm going to say Bitcoin again. Just like what you saw me say, buy Bitcoin. This is definitely the time to get in on Bitcoin. If you haven't, if you've been sitting on the sidelines, you've been holding on a little bit too much alts, you want to convert that and go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin definitely has all the strength right now, and there's good reason for it. And you don't want to miss this train as Bitcoin comes up to 12,000 once again. We could see a huge rally once it breaks through. So let's discuss. So looking at Bitcoin right now, 11,935, and it continues to inch higher and higher and higher. And that's the beauty with Bitcoin right now. We're not seeing major volatility. We're not seeing it go up 500 points, 1,000 points, 2,000 points. Right now, what we're seeing is 100 points, 200 points, 100 points, 200 points, and it's slowly rising up. And the volatility basically have been removed, which is great for holders. Not so great for people that's looking to dollar cost average or people that's looking to swing trade Bitcoin, but it's great for us holders because it continues to go higher and higher and higher. And there's many reasons for this, and I'm going to get to it in a little bit. But one thing that I think is curbing enthusiasm right now, I'm not seeing the same kind of excitement, nor am I feeling the same kind of excitement with Bitcoin going to 12,000 once again. Think about it, 12,000. I'm not even talking about going back up to 10,000 or 11,000. We're going back up to 12,000, one of Bitcoin's previous highs. And once we surpass this, then guess what? 14,000 is right around the corner. And then what's after 14,000? 20,000. But one thing I do think is curbing enthusiasm right now is the altcoins. The altcoins have been slowly draining out. Some are slow. Some are not slow. Some are draining out like there's a big hole on the bottom of the bucket. And you could see Bitcoin's dominance has been rising 60.4% today. And I believe that will continue to rise. So right now you can see Bitcoin is in the green and very little is in the green. Everything else is in the red. This is 24-hour and 7-day. If you look at the past week performance, it kind of sucks. When you're holding XRP that's down 4%, Chainlink that's down 7%, Cardano that's down 7%, Crypto.com, which a lot of people, have been telling me about and saying, hey, get into it, is down a staggering 26%. Tezos down 12%. Cosmos down 11%. And I could go on and on and on. VeChain down 5%. Zcash down 13%. Uniswap down 70%. Theta down 22%. I mean, I think this is the reason why there's not a lot more enthusiasm behind Bitcoin's rise right now. Is because too many of us have swayed away from Bitcoin, started buying altcoins, right, in hopes that this new bull run will kickstart another altcoin season. But that's not what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the liquidity drain out of them actually slowly. As slow as Bitcoin is rising up, it's just as slow for the alts in terms of draining out. So unfortunately, I think that's curbing it. But right now, I think it's really important to pay attention to Bitcoin because it is ready to skyrocket. It is ready to rally, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it has to go happen tomorrow or next week, but I do think going to the end of the year, leading into 2021, we're definitely going to see some big moves. And who knows, maybe it will happen tomorrow right after Bitcoin passes 12,000. First, let's take a look at this. The total hash rate for Bitcoin is now at all-time high. Yes, all-time high. So the miners are mining away. They're increasing their hash rate. They're adding on more ASIC miners because it's like the Cold War right now between the mining farms, right? Everyone wants to have the biggest mining farm. They want to have the biggest hash rate because they want to earn the most Bitcoin because they want to hold it. Bitcoin to me is going to be like, right now you could look at like oil, right? Oil companies or the oil tycoons, the Middle East, how they basically control oil right now, right? That's kind of like old money. The new money, it's going to be Bitcoin and crypto. Mostly, I think Bitcoin. And that is why these miners continue to continue mining and add more mining power to their farms because this is the name of the game and you don't want to miss out. All right, why else is Bitcoin going up besides the miners just continue to, mine away? Well, look at the companies that's been buying Bitcoin, right? I'm talking about publicly traded companies that's just not buying like, okay, I'm going to buy 10 Bitcoins or 100 Bitcoin. They're buying thousands to tens of thousands of Bitcoins. And it's having an effect. This is why Bitcoin slowly creeps up because the bears can't drop it. Because as soon as they try to sell, it gets gobbled up, which is why Bitcoin continues to slowly rise. So, for example, Square, we know who Square is, led by Jack Dorsey. Well, they publicly came out and said they're buying $50 million worth of Bitcoin. They have bought 50 million Bitcoin as a reserve. So that is a big endorsement, especially from a big publicly traded company, and Jack Dorsey, we know, a big Bitcoin bull. But yeah, this is a big endorsement and shows you, and that's not the biggest purchase. Another company called Stone Ridge reveals 115 million Bitcoin investment as part of a $1 billion spinoff. Yeah, so you have an investment company or asset management company all of a sudden saying, okay, we have just bought $115 million worth of Bitcoin out of the blue, right? That's not the largest purchase. Let's not forget MicroStrategy, who made two big purchases and now controls $425 million worth of Bitcoin. And they even bought Hope.com. They actually bought Hope.com probably for millions and redirected it to their webpage, and it talks about Bitcoin. So the CEO of MicroStrategy is also very, very bullish on Bitcoin right now. And the biggest bull of all, Grayscale Investments, they scooped up 17,000 Bitcoins just in the last 7 days. And their holdings continues to rise and rise and rise. We're talking about billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. So do you see what I'm saying? When publicly traded companies now is buying Bitcoin in the tens of millions, hundreds of millions, right? And this is on top of retail investors, average Joes that continue to dollar cost average and HODL, and on top of the whales and the hedge fund guys like Paul Tudor Jones and Chamath and Mike Novogratz and all these other players, Tim Draper, who have been adding on Bitcoin over the years. You add it all in, there's just not that much left. There's not that much to circulate, which is why Bitcoin is getting more scarce. The supply is decreasing and demand is increasing, and that is why the price is going up. And I believe it's going to go much, much, much higher. I do believe after 12,000, we may see a huge pump, one that we haven't seen for a while. Remember, after 8,000, we kind of jumped into 10,000 really quickly. After 10,000, we jumped up to 12,000 really quickly. Both times it came back down and settled a little bit, right? But now we're slowly creeping up back to 12,000, and we can see a jump from 12,000 to 14,000, possibly 15,000 in a relatively short time, and then maybe come back down a little bit. But I think it's going to happen. But overall, leading till Christmas and 2021, seeing what's going on around the world, the economies of the world is not getting any better, and I do think this is a good time to be stocking up on Bitcoin. Lastly, I just want to show this. Chairman Powell says that Federal Reserve is considering a proprietary cryptocurrency. Well, of course they are, because other countries are already looking at this, specifically China. They're coming out the digital yuan. So why wouldn't the US look at coming out the digital dollar? And why is this good for Bitcoin? Well, you know that a digital state-controlled crypto is still like fiat. They're going to control it. They can inflate it. They could do whatever they want. They can manipulate it. Most likely, I think they want it so that it could be tracked. But this is different from Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still a non-sovereign crypto, right? No one is controlling it. No one is inflating. In fact, it's deflationary, so it's getting more and more scarce. So I do think the introduction of, say, a US dollar is good for Bitcoin because it's going to get people used to the fact that, yeah, digital currency is a real thing. They're going to get used to digital wallets and sending and trading and all that good stuff, right? And then they're going to be drawn to something that actually increases in value over time, like Bitcoin, not like the USD, which only devalues over time. People are going to get smart and look at alternatives, and they're going to look at Bitcoin. And they're going to look at, hey, you know, the government can't say bad things about crypto anymore because they have their own crypto. So that only strengthens the use case or the narrative behind other crypto and Bitcoin. So this is all leading up to something very, very, very positive. So I posted this on Twitter yesterday, and I found this to be interesting because I think this is a very, very, very bullish view of Bitcoin. Just look at it. Look at it. If you expand out, this is on the weekly chart. Obviously, we had a top here, right? And then came back down. Top here, came back down. But look at what's happening. It always comes back up. And it's looking like it wants to break through 12,000. If it does, guess what's going to happen? It's going to go right back up to 20,000. Now, can it fall back down? Sure. It can fall back down to the yellow line. So if it fell down starting from today and it fell all the way down to the lower support line, yeah, it would fall to about $6,000, $6,500. But if this continues on to 20,000 plus before it comes back down, then you're talking about 8, 9, 10,000 as a lower support, and the drop isn't that far off from where it is now. But if you look at this, to me, it seems like Bitcoin is primed to go higher. It went sideways a little bit over here, sideways over here for a little bit, and now, once it breaks out, to me, it looks like it wants to do this and go to 20,000 and possibly beyond before maybe falling back down to a lower support. Doesn't mean that it's going to fall down to the orange line, but this looks very, very bullish to me. That's it for today's update. I want to concentrate on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the name of the game right now. Altcoins are really struggling, and Bitcoin looks like it wants to inch higher and then make some big moves afterwards. It's being gobbled up. The miners continue to hodl. You know, retail investors, whales, continue to hodl and buy more. And now publicly traded companies are buying it left and right. There's just not that much to go around. I just don't see any ammunition that the bears have right now to drive Bitcoin lower. Everything is pointing higher. So you better get on the train or it's going to leave the station forever and it's just too late to get back on. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel and leave your thoughts below. Take care. Bye-bye.